Hi, boys and girls. It's Mrs. Ovenritter back again today. And again, we are looking at another 3 Billy Goats Gruff book. But this time it was talking about 3 Billy Goats Fluff. But what we are going to do is yesterday I showed you how to make different bridges. And you were able to practice your own bridge to see how the beams worked and whether it was a shorter distance apart or a longer distance apart, and you could add coins and you could see how it was starting to bend, whether it was weaker or stronger. Well, today what we're going to do is talking about something else on another way that we could get across water, and that is by making a raft. So we are going to be trying a sinking and floating activity today, but I'm first going to share my screen and we're going to go back to that epic book again, and it's called Floating or Sinking. And I'm just going to read you parts about this today. And it says, a natural force. A leaf floats on water. A pebble sinks in water. Why do some things float? Why do other things sink? So here you can see an object placed in water makes a place for itself by moving some of the water away. So it kind of pushes the water away. And when the amount of the water moved equals the upward force of the water, the object floats. So it's talking about here, it's talking about its buoyancy. When an object's ability to float is called buoyancy. What a big word. Things with good buoyancy float easily. So they compared the buoyancy of a sponge, of a wood block, and then a metal cube. So now this is called for the density in floating. Density describes how heavy or light something is for its size. Objects that are light for their size float more easily. These things have low density. Objects that are heavy for their size sink. They have higher density. So it's looking at the rocks in the bottom of the fishbowl. They sink. And then we have here, these are different objects that you could use at home. Probably not the phone though. You could use at home and put it into water to practice sinking and floating. Now it's talking about this. Do heavy things always sink? Do light things always float? So it says a metal fork sinks, but ships, many ships made of metal, can float. And that is because in a fork, there's no way to trap the air. But in a big ship, you can trap the air inside. And of course, you want to make sure that a boat floats. And here is another one that you can try at home. This is another making a prediction, and it's taking a pie tin and putting it into the water and then keep adding pennies or different coins to see how many it takes before you can sink your boat in the water. You can also use different types of boats that you've made as well. So that was just a little bit of a story that I wanted to read to you today about sinking and floating. So what we are going to do now is I am actually going to show you something, and you actually got this at home as well. We mailed it to you. I'm going to get my stuff all set up here, and I'm going to show you my bowl of water so you can see inside I have water in there. And then you were sent home popsicle sticks and pipe cleaners. So with your popsicle sticks and pipe cleaners, so you can see it, I put 5 of them together. And then I put the pipe cleaner and wrapped it around there. To make it easier so they stick together, I put a little piece of the Scotch tape on both sides so they would stick together. Then I put just for extra, I put on the pipe cleaner to hold it together. So then what I'm going to do is this would be my raft that would float across the water. So I'm going to put it in there, and if it floats, remember, it's going to stay on top of the water. If it sinks, it will go down to the bottom of the water. So we're going to lay it on there nicely, and I'm going to give it a push, and you can see it is floating across the water. So it is floating, not sinking. So that's one type of raft you can make to practice at home. Also, another one that you can make if you have at home, you can use plastic straws. And you can take these straws. So what I did is I used plastic straws and I cut them in half. And I did the same thing. I put a little tape across it so it would stay together. And then I added the pipe cleaners as well. What I'm going to do is see if this works to float it across. And you can see it's going right across. It did not sink, so it would be a good raft. Now, if you started adding objects on top of it and making it heavier, it may start to sink. So those are things that you can try at home as well to see if you can get your raft to sink down into the water. And then also what you are going to do, so those are your types of rafts. You could get out, you could actually go find sticks in your yard too, if you have sticks around, or when you're out for a walk, and you could wrap sticks together and make a raft as well. That would be fun too. But then other things that I want you to try is I just want you to have fun at home. And I want you to look at an object and pick up an object and say, I wonder if this will sink or float. So that's making a hypothesis. You're wondering what it's going to do, and you're making a prediction on if it's going to float, sink or float is what you are making. So if I put this in my water, what do you think it's going to do? Sink or float? Oh, it went right down to the bottom of my water. It sunk. And now I'm going to put in a Sharpie marker. And I'm going to say, is it going to sink or is it going to float? Will it push water away and the force of it will push up? Or will it go right down to the bottom? Let's see. It's staying right on top. It is floating. Now I have a little gem here. Let's see what it does. Oh, as you can see, it went right down through the water, so it sunk. And I have a toothpick here. Let's lay it on top. And you can see it is also just floating right on the top of the water. So boys and girls, get a little bit of water, take your popsicle sticks and your pipe cleaners and go ahead and make a raft. And then make sure you spend some time guessing, will it sink or will it float? And have fun doing that. I hope you have a good time with our little STEM activity today. We'll see you soon, boys and girls. Bye-bye.